Hi guys, every day for the past 10 days I've watched a Stephen King film, and so in today's video I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on the films I've watched. I also wanted to show you this cool Pennywise Funko Pop. It's one of my favourite pops. I just love the detail of it. I also wanted to start by saying that all the films I'm talking about today, apart from one, I have seen before, some a number of times, because I am a fan of Stephen King films, which always surprises me because I am not a big fan of horror at all. It's probably one of my least favourite genres of film, but there's something about Stephen King's work that I just love. Stephen King, he is dubbed the King of Horror, and he's most well known for his horror novels. And although he is best known for his horror novels, he has written other genres as well, such as crime, fantasy, mystery, science fiction. He's written so much. There was one time when I thought that I was going to try and read everything that Stephen King had wrote until I saw the list. The amount of books that he has written, I think it would take me years to get through them all. I'm also going to rank the Stephen King films I've watched, and I'm going to reveal my ranking by starting with my least favourite of the films, giving my thoughts on that one first, and then my favourite film I'm going to talk about at the end. And so the first film I'm going to discuss is The Life of Chuck, and I've just realised that I've already told a lie, because I said that I've seen all these films before apart from one. Well, actually it's two films which I'm going to be talking about today I've seen only once, and this is one of them.
Come on, little sister, let's dance.
I saw this one at the cinema a couple of weeks ago when it first came out, and one of the reasons why I really wanted to see this film at the cinema is because it stars Tom Hiddleston, who is one of my favourite actors, and also Mark Hamill, another one of my favourite actors. The Life of Chuck is split into 3 acts, and the first act I didn't like as much as the second and third act. I did, for me personally, find the first act a bit boring. It was a little lost on me as well. I was a bit confused. I didn't know anything about the film. I should really have looked into it a bit more before I saw it, because I do feel like I understand it a lot more after I read up about it after watching the film. So I think I would have probably enjoyed the first act a bit more if I knew a little bit more about the film. What really pulled me into the film was the dancing scene with Tom Hiddleston and the drummer. I really loved that scene. In fact, I really liked all of the dancing sequences. I just found that really enjoyable to watch, and I think that the film has this beautiful message that each individual's experiences and memories help to create the universe, and that meaning is found in our connections with others, and so a single life loss can change the world. But I do think that the film needs a second watch from me to really understand the storyline a bit more. Next is Stand By Me.
Train! Oh shit!
This film is about 4 friends who decide to go looking for the dead body of a local teenager. I found this storyline more character driven than plot driven, which didn't put me off, but I do think that's a reason why I don't rate this one as high. I do think that the boys acted really well, but I just found myself more interested with the kids from It, which is another film I'm going to be discussing a bit later, compared to these kids. I think for me personally, I would have enjoyed the film a bit more with a little bit more plot. But that's not to say that I disliked the film. I still enjoyed watching it. I still found it interesting, and I know for many this is considered a classic. The next film I just watched yesterday at the cinema, and that is The Long Walk.
Let's be musketeers.
How the fuck are we gonna be musketeers? There's 4 of us.
Come on now. We stick together to where all that's left. How about that? All for one.
One for all.
Nah, and again, I need to hear it louder. All for one.
One for all.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, right. You know.
Yeah,
you
not you.
The Long Walk is about a group of young boys who just have to walk, and they can't stop for so long because if they do, they will be killed. And there can only be one winner at the end, and they will win a lot of money and one wish. I found myself engaged throughout the film. I really wanted to know what was going to happen next, who was going to go next. And it also has Mark Hamill in, so it was nice to see another Stephen King film with Mark Hamill. But there were a few things about the film which did annoy me. I don't want to spoil anything. I feel like some of the points I'm going to make may spoil it for some people who haven't yet seen the film. So if you don't want any spoilers, I will leave a timestamp on the screen so you can skip this part if you don't want to hear any spoilers about the film. So I've never read the book before, so I don't know how similar the book is to the film, but I did feel that the film didn't explain the plot very well. I didn't really feel like I understood why these boys were walking, what was going on in this world. I don't feel like that was really explained. Unless I missed something, I didn't really get the why this was happening exactly. I know they kept saying that the world was in this financial state, but I felt like I didn't really learn why. And also I did find myself getting interested in a lot of the characters, but I found that the film was building the characters up, but it just didn't really go anywhere. For example, there was one character who I was drawn to. He was probably one of my favourite characters. I think he was called Gary. He had longish blonde hair. And I felt like at the start it seemed that he had some kind of plan. And then he just didn't. And I found that with a few of the characters. And what was also annoying me throughout the film was that all the boys were helping each other out and encouraging one another to just keep going, even though there can only be one winner. And I just didn't understand that. I kind of wanted there to be a few of the characters to stop the others so they can become the winner, a bit like in Squid Game, but there wasn't really any characters like that in the end. They just were all encouraging each other to keep going. And probably my biggest disappointment with the film was the ending. I didn't like the ending at all. It just didn't make sense and kind of like ruined the whole film, really, this ending. But saying that, I didn't find myself bored through the film at all. I really did want to know what was going to happen at the end, and I did get drawn into quite a lot of the characters. It's just a shame that they weren't developed a bit better. The next film is The Mist.
Holy shit!
The Mist is about a man and his son who become trapped in this supermarket with a load of other people, and they are surrounded by this mist, and within the mist are some dangerous creatures. This film, I would say, is more of your typical horror story, but I could still tell it was one of Stephen King's, because unlike with other horror films, which I just find myself more bored through instead of frightened, I did find myself drawn in a lot to its storyline, and the storyline shocked and depressed me more than I thought. I remember the first time I watched it, I was not expecting the ending, and yeah, it did affect me a bit, which never happens usually with horror films. But the one negative thing I will say about this film is I wasn't blown away with the acting. The next film is The Shining.
Here's Johnny!
The Shining is about this man called Jack, who is a winter caretaker at this hotel where he is living with his wife and son. And the film takes a dark turn when the family start witnessing supernatural events. This film is considered a horror classic. I remember when I first watched it, I was quite confused with the storyline, but I couldn't get the film off of my mind because of Jack Nicholson's incredible acting. I just can't take my eyes off him when he's acting. But the second time I watched it, which was not that long ago, I did understand it a lot more than before, and so I found myself enjoying it more. The film focuses more on the horrors of the human mind, and as I said, Jack Nicholson just makes the film, for me, is worth watching it just to see his performance. The next film is Carrie. Carrie is about this teenager called Carrie White who is bullied at school and lives with her controlling mother. She possesses this telekinetic power which she uses against her enemies when things start to get out of hand. I think this film is different from a lot of horrors now because I think it has a lot of psychological depth, and I found myself really feeling sorry for Carrie. Still, when I watched it for the second time, I was just so sad after the film. I'm just always pulled into the storyline, and Sissy, who stars as Carrie, her performance as well is just amazing. The next film is Misery. The film is about this novelist called Paul who is in this car accident and is rescued by this nurse called Annie who claims to be Paul's biggest fan, but her obsession soon takes a dark turn. I was gripped from start to finish with this film. Kathy Bates, who stars as Annie, is just incredible. Her performance is so terrifying, and I found this film one of the scariest. There were quite a few scenes that I couldn't watch. I think it's a brilliant storyline, and Kathy Bates' performance just kept me at the edge of my seat. The next film, or films I should say, are Stephen King's It. Although I do rate this one a lot higher than this one, I would actually have this one a bit lower in my rating, probably maybe just above The Mist, but I thought I'll just talk about these two together. This one is the 2017 two-part adaptation.
I'm not supposed to take stuff from strangers.
Oh, well, I'm Pennywise the dancing clown. Pennywise? Yes, meet Georgie. Georgie, meet Pennywise.
And this is the 1990s miniseries.
How you doing, Eddie Spaghetti?
Don't do that. I hate it when you do that. And don't call me Eddie Spaghetti.
Oh, you love it, Eddie. It's what makes you so chuckalicious. Richie Toge is my name, and doing voices is my game.
I watched the 1990s miniseries years ago because it has the actor Seth Green in as a kid, and I do like Seth Green, and there was a time when I was collecting all of his films. So I did watch that one a very long time ago, and then I saw the other one when it came out at the cinema. Stephen King's It is about 7 bullied children who are forced to face their worst nightmares when Pennywise, a shape-shifting clown, reappears. And Pennywise, he torments children before feeding on them. I remember when the 2017 film came out at the cinema, I really enjoyed it. I think I went to see it a few times. I really enjoyed the film for the friendship of the children. I found learning about their individual background and stories entertaining. I found the film had more depth compared to other horror films I've seen, but I did prefer the 2017 film a lot more over the miniseries. I think I prefer the acting of the 2017 one. The miniseries, I thought the kids acted very well, but I thought a lot of the adults acting I didn't like in the miniseries. I did think that the children actually outshone the adults in that one. Next, I have the Shawshank Redemption.
We sat and drank with the sun on our shoulders and felt like free men. Hell, we could have been tarring the roof of one of our own houses.
The film is about a successful banker called Andy who is sentenced to life at Shawshank Prison for the murders of his wife and lover, and the film is about him surviving in prison. Andy befriends another prisoner called Red, who is acted by Morgan Freeman, who does a great performance in the film. The film explores hope, friendship and strength, and there's this one sad but powerful scene which always gets me every time I watch it, of this man who is so used to his life in prison, it's what he's familiar with, that when he's released the world just feels so lonely, and he really struggles to adjust to his life outside the prison. And now the world feels more like a prison to him as he struggles to adjust, and we just see him repeating an average everyday life over and over, and it's just such a heart-wrenching scene. I really go through the emotions when watching it. Definitely recommend watching the film if you haven't. It is considered one of the best films of all time, and within reason, because it is just, yeah, an incredible film. And to quote Andy in the film, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. And at number 1, I have The Green Mile.
Dead man walking! Dead man walking here! Dead man! We got a dead man walking here! Dead man walking! We got a dead man walking here!
First thing, it's enough. I'm not gonna have any trouble with you, big boy. Can you talk?
Yes, boss. I can talk.
I knew The Green Mile was going to be my favourite of the Stephen King films I've watched for the past few days, because it is one of my favourite films of all time. For a very long time I considered it as my favourite film, and then I watched Amadeus, and now it's probably my second favourite film. I just love this film so much. I remember when I first watched it years ago, I didn't think it was going to be my kind of film, but I wanted to see something with Tom Hanks in, so I thought I would give it a go. And I remember watching it very late, and I had work the next day, and the film's very long, it's 3 hours long, and I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to sit through it, and so I thought I'll just watch like an hour of it and then go to bed and then maybe watch the rest the next day. But I was hooked. I did not want to stop the film. I was so into it. I was just so surprised. I fell in love with the characters, and I just loved the storyline. I found it so entertaining. I remember sitting through the majority of it until I literally couldn't, because I did have work the next day, and I remember going through all of work just desperate to finish to watch the end of the film. It's always remained a favourite of mine. The film is about a man called Paul Edgecombe, who is played by Tom Hanks, and he's head of this prison, and he meets this inmate called John Coffey, who has been charged with a death sentence for the murder of 2 girls. And then Paul's life changes drastically when he discovers John Coffey has this special gift. I think the whole cast in this film are incredible, but the standout performers for me are of course Tom Hanks. I also think the actor Doug Hutchison is incredible. Even though he is a horrible, nasty character, I really liked his character in the film. Mostly because I always like the evil ones, I think. And yeah, his acting is just amazing in this. Also Sam Rockwell. Everything I've seen Sam Rockwell in, though, I'm always impressed with his acting, but he, yeah, was just incredible in this film as well. Michael Clarke Duncan as John Coffey was also incredible. I find the film emotional, heartwarming, gripping, and full of memorable characters, and I definitely recommend you watching it if you haven't. Don't be put off by the length, it's worth it. And that brings me to the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please let me know your favourite Stephen King film, and I will see you in my next video.